2 hospitalized, hundreds displaced as 500-room building collapses in Lagos. Federal government invites Nigeria Labour Congress to avert indefinite strike. As kidnapping and banditry ramps up across Nigeria, some communities are resorting to self-help. Landslide in Northwest Democratic Republic of Congo kills at least 17 people. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Lagos, where 2 persons are receiving critical medical care at a private hospital after a school-turned-residential building in Ketu area of Lagos partially collapsed on Sunday. Now, the building, housing over 500 rooms with hundreds of residents, known as Agboye Estate on Oduntan Street in Ketu, first caved in on Saturday afternoon following heavy downpour of rainfall that greeted most parts of Lagos. In the meantime, the Lagos State Management Agency, in a statement, says the building's residents were asked to vacate the building under supervision of the combined team of LASEMA, Rapid Response Squad, and Lagos State Building Control Agency and Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps to avert any secondary incidents. Now, the Permanent Secretary of the agency, Olufemi Oketolu, says the building would be pulled down as it had failed the structural integrity test, as confirmed by the agency during an official visit. He said the agency's response team and paramedics, as well as rapid response team of the Lagos State Building Control Agency and Lagos Neighborhood Watch, among other agencies, were at the incident site to salvage the situation. Now, the federal government has been tasked to effect full enforcement of the law to guard against incident building collapse recorded across the country. A professor of construction management from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in Kaduna, Professor Isa Michel Garu, who gave the task, said such measures will enhance the safety and security of Nigerians against avoidable deaths caused by building collapse. Now, he said the National Building Development Code laid down the minimum provisions buildings require in order to ensure public safety with regards to structural sufficiency, fire hazard, and health aspects. He also says that the law also contains administrative provisions, development control rules, and general building requirements.
Buildings were not performing in Nigeria very well, because from the study, when you go through the whole, I have assessed our buildings. I discovered that the buildings are not performing very well. So then why are they not performing well? Then I came up with 3 or 4 problems. Then I now tackle these problems one after the other. At the end of it, I developed a model of how to solve these building performance problems, which I call it ABU-based 22. It's a built environment solution 2023-2022. But I now attach the ABU-based 2022 as a solution for performance of building. So when now you propose, when now you apply this solution I derived, it will solve a lot of them. In the hall, I practicalized it with people, because I was not even open. My lecture was just, it was an interactive lecture. That way, I took them one after the other and say, okay, now assuming that you have a building, let's everybody think of his own building at home. So let's go together. Now we apply this step by step at just about 10 or 12, 9 or 10 steps, and we took at the end.
Apologies for the poor visual in that audio, in that video. Now, the federal government has sent a formal invitation to the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress and its counterpart in the Trade Union Congress for a fresh meeting in order to avert looming indefinite strike action occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, directed the Department of Trade Union Services and Industrial Relations in the ministry to convene a meeting with the leadership of the organised labour before the Labour's ultimatum expires. The leadership of the organised labour had on Monday, September 4th, boycotted a meeting convened by the minister with a view to averting a two-day nationwide warning strike that was declared by the organised labour. In a chat with Daily Trust on Sunday, the spokesperson of the ministry, Olajide Oshundun, says the minister reiterated that it was important that the unions sit with the government to resolve all pending matters to avert further disruption to the economy. Oshundun says that the meeting scheduled to hold on Monday would have critical stakeholders in attendance to make the negotiations more robust than ever before. Elsewhere, the district head of Yelwanduguri in Bauchi State, Muhammad Baba, has declared that the readiness of members of his domain to take on kidnappers and the operations affecting communities along Yankari Forest in Alkali local government area of the state. The traditional ruler made the remark after 10 kidnappers were neutralized and 39 kidnapped victims rescued by the joint efforts of the police and hunters under Operation Sharan Daji in the area. Adamu Imam reports from Bauchi.
The district head, while receiving the state governor Bala Muhammad and the security chiefs as well as 39 victims in his palace, appreciated the joint security over the prompt action on the threat by the kidnappers. The neutralized kidnappers were gunned down during an engagement with the joint security outfit, which recorded huge success, promising that no retreat, no surrender until they rid their domain of the deadly kidnappers. This is just the beginning of clamp down on the kidnappers in our area. We knew they have informant. We will not wait for them any longer. We are ready to fight them to the end. We can launch an onslaught on their hideout. If they thought otherwise, they should pack and leave our enclave or face the consequences of attacks. We must thank our gallant police, security, and vigilante hunters for their resistance. One of the rescue abductees, Muhammad Sardona, narrates their experiences while in captivity of the kidnappers, which he said had demanded for about 50 million naira each of their families as ransom. We already started losing hope. We all die. Started losing hope. We will all die. Then I heard a voice of our vigilante saying, "No, don't move up. We have come to rescue. Don't panic." Then I thanked God. So from there, they started exchanging gunfire with the kidnappers, and they subdued them. Reacting to the gallant efforts of the joint security outfit, the state governor Bala Muhammad commended them for the feat, just as he warned against any form of conspiracy, noting that anyone found wanting will be dealt with decisively. The governor also handed over 20 million naira to the community and 50 motorcycles to aid the local security operatives.
Calling on the traditional institution and small and other leaders at all the levels to avoid conspiracy and compromise, because these bandits are coming in and sometimes they have fertile ground from people that are around. I want to inform you that we are working with the security agencies to bring CIDs who will be going into the villages to find out those people that are conniving with the bandits, because those people are worse than the bandits. You have heard that about 10 have been neutralized.
Earlier, the State Commissioner of Police, Awal Muhammad, through the Command Public Relations Officer Ahmed Wakil, said preliminary investigation revealed that the kidnappers invaded Gaji village with specific target to abduct some businessmen on their way back home from Maraba Liman Katagum weekly market. The State Police Chief assures the citizen of Bauchi that the war against crimes and criminality will be a success. Adami Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
From Bauchi to Adamawa State, where Governor Ahmadu Umaru has charged security agencies operating in the state to double their efforts towards sustaining relationships that would bring an end to all forms of security threats militating against the development of the state. The governor tasked the security apparatus to mitigate the threat of kidnapping, banditry, cattle rustling, violent farmer-herder clashes, and the activities of thugs, popularly known as Sheila Boys. Silas Lawan reports.
Governor Fintri, who gave the charge at the 23 Brigade Yola during a 25-kilometer interagency marathon race competition for all security agencies operating in the state, says the Northeast Governors Forum in Maiduguri has alleged that some traditional rulers are aiding banditry in the geopolitical zone. The governors said the state and the geopolitical zone, particularly Bauchi, Gombe, and Taraba, have seen an increase in criminal activities due to the influx of bandits. He says the 25-kilometer marathon race, which was aimed at maintaining fitness among the security agencies, will not have come at a better time than now.
We will continue to work with relevant stakeholders and other security agencies to ensure that the perpetrators of crime in the state are dealt with headlong. I assure the people of the state that my administration will continue to provide the needed support tools ensuring Adamawa State continue to witness seamless peace and security for the people to enjoy the dividends of democracy.
Commander 23 Brigade Yola, Brigadier General Mohammed Jibril Gambo, explained that the 25-kilometer interagency marathon was deliberately organized to strengthen synergy between the security agencies for fight against insecurity.
A 25 kilometers interagency marathon race competition, which was organized by the brigade to host all the agencies, and the aim of this event is to actually bring all the agencies together to also build healthy rivalry amongst our personnel and also to keep them fit. And this is also in line with the Chief of Army Staff's philosophy, which is to transform the Nigerian Army into a well-trained, equipped and highly motivated force towards achieving its constitutional responsibilities within a joint environment like this where we have all the agencies together.
He says security personnel in the state will not spare any terrorist, bandit, or criminal in their various areas of responsibility. Silas Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
Now, as schools reopen for a new academic session, the financial responsibilities of parents and guardians to cater to the needs of their wards has become a major challenge as cost of books and other school items have appreciated in the markets significantly. Jimmy Azande visited the popular modern market in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, for this report.
Prices of common commodities like confectionaries, including biscuits and juice, have multiplied. That's according to the residents. The need for these items has raised confusion and lamentations for parents and guardians, with some of them saying this was not the situation in their last encounter with the traders.
The situation is pathetic because you see a budget that has been planned at home. What we are seeing in the market is far from what we have budgeted at home. So the situation is really pathetic.
Because a lot of things, in fact, the price is too high. Because as our children are resuming back to school, I went to the market today, I discovered that everything increased. Even books, but everything increased. So, and this is another challenge that many parents they are facing, because some of them they do not even prepare on time.
With these realities, some have adjusted their budgets in order to enable them get what they can.
I plan to buy biscuits, which I usually buy for 2,500, and it's about 3,100 thereabouts. The increase is high. I usually plan to buy like 3 cartons, but I ended up buying just 2 with a squeezed plan.
Subsidy where they remove, where they not plan them. As they remove them, it affect everything for market. Transportation, before I go modern market, from here to modern market, 300 naira. But now they go there 500. So if I come back, I calculate my expenses, think will go up small. I think because I'm done.
Hike in fuel price is affecting everybody. But speaking for myself, I am into buying and selling, so it is affecting the cost of goods in terms of way bill and transportation. So there is hike in fuel price, which is affecting the cost of bringing down these goods from where we buy them down to this region.
The palliative pronounced by the government may not be enough if prices of goods and services are not controlled. In any case, the parents will have to adjust to the current situation and wait until such a time when things get better. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, tell you a story about VVF patients waiting to get treatment, rehabilitation on a quarterly basis. More details coming up ahead after the break.
A consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No. It's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its higher horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Welcome back to the news updates. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories at this hour. 2 persons have been hospitalized, hundreds displaced as house with 500 rooms collapses in Lagos. The federal government is inviting the Nigeria Labour Congress over the union's indefinite strike plan. To other news now, the newly appointed Seun of Ogbomosho, Oba Gandi Afolabi Olaoye, has made his first public appearance after completing a 7-day traditional rite of initiation. Oba Olaoye went into seclusion shortly after his appointment by the state government as ruler of Ogbomosho land. The report.
Traditional drummers, sons and daughters of Ogbomosho land welcomed their new monarch at the city gate and ushered him straight to the palace. Speaking shortly after the conclusion of the traditional rites, the king promised to bring developments to the ancient city and ensure that Ogbomosho regain its pride of place as the hub for agriculture, commerce and industry. onerous task of leading the Ogbomosho heritage comes with a lot of responsibilities, and Oba Gandi Olaoye appears to be fortified to carry the heavy burden.
If the man of God, the pastor, believes that he's coming to lead his people, and not all his people are Christians, then he will use a different approach to handle the community. The Oba must have an open mind, and he must be very familiar with the historical process from where we started and how far we have gone.
Since its formation in the late 17th century, Oba Gandi Afolabi Olaoye is the second in history to embrace Christianity, and in a slight twist of tradition, prayers were offered within the premises of the palace for the smooth reign of the king.
First, we have to promote, help him with an agenda for development, an agenda for unity, an agenda for peaceful coexistence within Ogbomosho.
A lot of questions have been raised about the religious background of the king and his capacity to lead the diverse people of Ogbomosho land. However, prominent sons of the ancient allay such fears.
We want a progress in our city. And Ogbomosho city has been growing before, and we want it to be going higher and higher.
The appointment of Oba Olaoye was a thing of joy for many indigenes of Ogbomosho as they tried to catch a glimpse of their new king. Addressing the people, the king promised to fast-track development to the ancient city.
The gods did not make me king because I want to be rich and famous. The Almighty has already rewarded me with that. Ogbomosho stands tall in the Committee of States, and it is ours to reclaim and reposition our people to a place of pride and recognition.
The king also called for reconciliation among aggrieved contenders for the exalted throne of Ogbomosho land to foster the needed growth. Meanwhile, the installation of Oba Olaoye would be chosen at a later date and would terminate 21 months of waiting by enthusiastic residents for a new king following the death of the then Shoun of Ogbomosho land, Oba Jimoh Oyewumi.
To Katsina State now, where Obstetrics Center Babbaruga is set to treat, rehabilitate and support 50 patients suffering from vesicovaginal fistula (VVF), in addition to reintegrating them into society. Now, the 50 beneficiaries will also be trained in skill acquisitions like tailoring, shoe and bag making, weaving, and other trades, including a startup pack to enable them start a business. Abdullahi Amadi tells us more.
The Babbaruga Obstetrics, Fistula and Care Center receives over 400 referral cases for treatment from across Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, and Niger Republic on a regular basis. Though the center could not rehabilitate the large number of patients that are coming here for treatment, only 50 are to be considered quarterly, according to the officials.
It is against this background that the center approached the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, who facilitated the release of special grants by the Federal Ministry of Finance for the rehabilitation activities. And consequently, 50 number repaired fistula clients are to be rehabilitated quarterly in the year 2023.
This vulnerable group are often stigmatized by their communities and divorced by their husbands due to uncontrollable passage of urine, largely attributed to prolonged and obstructed labor. To discourage this menace, experts suggest an immediate stop to child marriage, rape, and other harmful practices bedeviling the society. The victims who are confronted with these health challenges are hindered from participating in social and economic activities to advance the cause of their communities.
The subjection of women and girls to harmful traditional practices like deprivation of access to timely and adequate antenatal, delivery and postnatal care is legendary in our communities.
It is against this backdrop wife of Katsina State Governor, donated wrappers and monies to the VVF survivors for them to start a business in their communities.
I humbly appreciate what is going on here, and it is for that reason I want to call on these women who were treated, rehabilitated, and trained that they should be very careful as they prepare to reunite with their husbands and other family members. Please hold the business you learned here with all seriousness to remain self-reliant.
The government is also providing transport to the survivors who have gone through repairs back to their communities free of charge. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived in New York in the United States ahead of his first participation in the United Nations General Assembly as Nigeria's president. The Boeing 737 presidential jet NAF 001 conveying the president and his entourage touched down in New York in the early hours of Monday. The president was received by Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Tijani Muhammad Bande, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugga. 6 governors and 7 ministers are part of the president's 17-man delegation to the 78th United Nations General Assembly. For his first appearance at the annual gathering as Nigeria's president, Tinubu will attend several high-level meetings and engagements with other world leaders and business executives on the sidelines of the General Assembly. The theme of the 78th United Nations General Assembly is rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity, accelerating action on the 2030 Agenda and its sustainable development goals towards peace, prosperity, progress and sustainability for all. The president will also join other world leaders to participate in the high-level political forum on sustainable development. Away from Nigeria, at least 17 people have been killed by a landslide in the northwestern Democratic Republic of Congo caused by torrential rains, according to authorities, who also warned that the toll could rise as rescuers sift through mud and the rubble of collapsed buildings. Now, the disaster happened on Sunday along the Congo River in the town of Lisal in Mongala province, according to Matthew Mole, who is the president of the civil society organization Forces Vives. The victims lived in homes that were built at the foot of a mountain. Governor Cesar Limbaya Bangisa says machinery was desperately needed to help clear away the debris and to help save any survivors. The governor offered his condolence to the victims' families and decreed 3 days of mourning throughout the province. Poverty and poor infrastructure have made communities in such areas more vulnerable to extreme weather, such as heavy rains, which are becoming more frequent and intense in Africa due to climate change, according to the United Nations climate experts. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Feel free, as usual, to follow us across our social media platform for more content and visit trusttv.com for more news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.